I'm Batman. No, I'm not Batman. I'm Vengeance. It's not what it needs. It's not what you're called. It's what you do that defines you. Where is she? Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about the latest, the newest Batman story, the Batman movie. Yeah, it's called The Batman. It's now like Batman Begins, Batman Dark Knight Rises, Batman Robert Pattinson version. And it just keeps everything simple, like everything else. It got no relation whatsoever with the DC universe. It has nothing to do with Superman, it has nothing to do with Shazam, it has nothing to do with Aquaman or Amber Heard for the obvious reason, so everything in this movie is so simple. Also, it has nothing to do with the clown back in 2019. So yeah, everything is kind of like straightforward and simple. It's a reboot, but it's kind of like take a different angle of the reboot of Batman story. It starts with Robert Pattinson Batman, just kind of spread this element of fear, and his nickname, Vengeance. No, I'm not Batman, I'm Vengeance. No, I'm not Vengeance, I'm Vengeance. I tell you, I'm Vengeance. On the street of Gotham, and thugs, shoplifters, rapists, and criminal juveniles spot the spotlight of Batman, just ran away from it, and then everything take a different direction. Batman just came into the crime scene of this crime committed by the Riddler, who just left out a love letter to Batman, some jokes, some kind of fun puzzles in it, and working together with James Gordon as well as Catwoman, who he has a crush on. Batman eventually just find the conspiracy behind everything. Yeah, so the film takes a very kind of fun, dark, and poetic hue in almost everything, and also this kind of like it's very much in trend with what's going on in the in the world. Everything's a bit of conspiracy, and but the difference compared with this movie to the Joker movie in 2019 is the end of it is takes a very positive turn, and it's more positive, and you would now come out this movie theater feeling really depressed. You probably feel a bit of hope after watching this movie. So let's talk about the cast. Robert Pattinson Batman is definitely brilliant, and he tried his best to steer clear of the old Batman or doing any impression of Christian Bale's Batman, because his voice is just a bit over the top. So he never says things like, "Where is she?" He just tries his best to keep his voice down lower a bit, to just do his own Batman. And and also his Batman is kind of like speechless, like it keeps a minimum speech of Batman, both in Bruce Wayne as well as the Batman in costume. And while his acting is pretty good in terms of presenting probably the saddest Batman ever, and you can see his melancholia, his warnings, his kind of sadness about the past and what's going on in Gotham through his eyes, and it's really blue. Another thing about his role of Batman is that his makeup around his eyes. That the audience do realize that to be a superhero, to be a menacing superhero, to be a decent superhero, and when you wear a mask like that, you have to kind of like do makeups around your eyes, and otherwise people will see this kind of like in between thing between your eyes. You can see the skin between and the edge of the mask, and which is kind of hilarious. So yeah, and this film just take a very serious notes on almost everything. The details, the vibe is so dark. Robert Pattinson's priesthood role is definitely top notch. So the supervillain, the Riddler, Paul Dano in this sense done very decent job in portraying this role, and it's quite aware of the fact that he should avoid any kind of same way of acting as the Jim Carrey's Riddler, which is a bit over the top, wearing a green costume, dancing, and basically like a Joker. And in this case, Paul Dano's Riddler is a bit of half-decent guy, and he's just staying in his bedroom doing his kind of like schemes and spend a lot of time on social media. And when it came to that point of this movie whereby he just left out some of the catharsis, and which is basically seeing opera, that scene is really kind of unique and very engaging in its own way. It's very good acting, and you do see the different facets, different persona of the psychology of these psychopaths, and in a very pragmatic way, rather than seeing the very outgoing kind of criminal. You do see a very kind of depressed and very cynical criminal. Yeah, so this movie done a very decent job in that, and Pattinson's acting is definitely well thought out and well acted. Another credible actor in this movie is definitely Colin Farrell. He's basically melted into the role of the Penguin, the supervillain. He's really menacing in terms of showing his kind of anger, frustration, fear in doing his facial expression. He just like tweets his eyes, eyebrow, mouth, and nose, and especially when it came to the part of the car chasing scenes whereby it's chased by Batman, he's constantly checking back, and you do see that kind of like motion on his face. And whatever technology they use in this movie, transforming Colin Farrell into this totally different looking guy, this penguin, and it absolutely works pretty well. I'm quite convinced that's not Colin Farrell. The fighting scene in this movie is absolutely top notch, because you got the really realistic side of Batman. There's nothing that you can definitely say is done by the green screen behind it. It's very, very real, and especially Batman just punching the shit out of the thugs on the street. Do you hear the heaviness of his face? Also, another thing is the car chasing scenes whereby Batman chases the penguin, and he's just like you can feel the speed of the car chasing, feel the kind of intensity of it. So the final verdict, 9 out of 10. Well, like the good side of this movie is definitely this plot, the storytelling, and the good acting, and the really, really dark, poignant vibe that got depth in it. I'm not going to do the spoiler, but it's really, really deep in terms of what it's trying to tell the audience. But the downside of this movie is actually the part where Batman has crushed on the Catwoman, and it just seems like their relationship of their kind of like her involvement in Batman's kind of life is just too brief. And then she disappeared for like 40 or 50 minutes throughout the movie. Then she reappeared. I love the music in general, but sometimes it's a bit of I don't know what I mean, especially the part of the country music sound. I think it's totally incompatible with the main theme of the movie, of the main theme of the rest of the original soundtrack. Yeah, so 9 out of 10, still a very great contender for movie of the year.